Hey everyone! Today we're going to be renovating the Bloxburg starter house into a Scandinavian style home. I gave myself two basic rules to follow, one being to keep the same square footage of the home, being that I would need to keep this home the same size as the original, and two being that I would need to keep the basic layout the majority of the same as their original starter home. So you will see me delete and add certain walls, but overall the home will have the same basic floor plan. So let's get started. So to start, I ended up just deleting everything that I didn't want, and to speed up the process, I just bulldozed everything but the walls. Now that I had the basic skeleton of the starter house, I just added on walls and deleted walls where I didn't want them. I mostly just deleted walls off of the bedroom, but I used the same amount of cubes to add that onto the other parts of the home, like the dining area and bathroom, so that it was the same square footage, and that way I could make this pop out area for the very front of the house. I then colored the exterior with this custom birchwood color as well as lightstone gray and a plaster material. When constructing the exterior of this house, I made sure to include a lot of Scandinavian features like wood tones, black roofing, black barred windows, and concrete or plastered walls, and that's how I came up with the basic look of the house. So for the front entrance, I wanted to make this custom pergola that would fit in such a small entrance, and we didn't have much room to work in, so I had to make it fit, but I think it came out pretty well. It kind of looks like the one that's already in Bloxburg, but a tinier version, and I wanted to make sure that I included a front entrance because the original starter house does have a pathway leading up to the door, but I really wanted to make this one more extravagant. For the gardening of this house, I really wanted a simplistic style. For example, I used the structurals to make kind of a barrier between where the sand, or I guess dry mulch in this case, that's what I wanted it to look like, to be separated from the grass. But I didn't want such a large fence around it, so I really wanted it to be very simplistic and subtle enough that you know it's there, but it doesn't overtake the garden. And I imagine that in Scandinavia, they probably do not have cacti just there, but in my mind, this house was screaming hedges and cacti for some reason, and that's what I came up with. So yeah, definitely does not go with the geographical flora of Scandinavia, but now, I knew that it would technically be cheating if I added a garage to this house, and that would mean that I would have to make extra square footage to this house. Instead of using walls, I decided to use a pergola and color the birch wood color to at least make a space for a vehicle to be parked instead of technically not adding on to the house. It's just an area like a driveway and is not an extra room. Okay, so moving on to the interior, I just went ahead and made all the walls the same color. That was for a modern touch because personally, I don't really like colored walls too much. An accent wall is okay to have color, but I feel like in a modern or minimalistic home, you would literally have the same color almost everywhere. So I just used my favorite color in Bloxburg, light stone gray, and then I just used that same birchwood custom color I had to do different wood tones inside the home. And for the bathroom, I think I put like polka dots at first, but I would change that to slate later on in the video. And for the trim, I just only used it at the bottom of the wall because I feel like in a modern home you really don't see top wall trim. So I decided to use these pillars as a divider for the home office area just because I didn't want to make the kitchen area and living room in the same area as the office, but there wasn't that much space in the house to have a separate room for it, and I also wanted an open floor plan concept, so I decided that these were the perfect combination for separation but openness, especially because a lot of these Scandinavian homes that I referenced really loved using different wood tones. Also, sorry if you guys hear rain outside my window. It is like thunderstorming right now. I live in Florida, so it's literally, I'm recording this at 12 a.m. and it's literally storming outside. So there's the weather for you here, but we're gonna keep on going with the video. So right here, I just wanted to make the main office chair very comfy, so that's why I used like a sofa armchair because it gave modern. I made it like concrete and it also gave like comfy, so I thought it was a good balance. And a lot of the offices I seen utilize like built-in bookshelves as well as floating shelves, so I made sure to design it around that. And I imagine that this person who lives here is probably an accountant, so that's why I put a lot of paperwork and calculators and files and a desktop computer and some chairs for clients because maybe they work from home and all that. So yeah, I made this space very comfy. Now, the original starter house did have like a entrance of a doorway, but there was no real like designated mudroom, so I wanted to incorporate that into the renovation. So I made a little mudroom area where you could like place your keys, your bags and stuff. I also wanted to bring nature into this home, so of course I included some plants, and I didn't want to overcrowd the space too much. I just wanted to make it known that there would be somewhere to place your miscellaneous things when you walk through the door, and also gain something that the old house lacked. So the kitchen was definitely one of my favorite rooms in this house, and I went with white drawers and wooden countertops. I made sure that most of the appliances were more on the modern side, but simplistic, and I again included floating shelves because most of the kitchens that I saw that were Scandinavian had floating shelves instead of top cabinets, which I thought made sense because it gave more of an open feel, which I was going for, so I went with that. And then I used like white towel for a backsplash in the kitchen, which I thought tied really well together. And you'll see me decorate this more. You'll see most of the decorations in the tour photos, so yeah. Now for the general seating and dining area, I really wanted a waterfall island, so I went with the modern set that was in Bloxburg, and I just colored that. I really thought that went with the kitchen, not like a regular island, but actually having a waterfall that cascaded down the side. And for the more formal dining area, I didn't want something that took up too much space that was also minimalistic and went with the theme, so I ended up just using the square table and using these chairs, and I think they're the most modern chairs we could probably use for dining, so I went with that. And for lighting, I mixed these two different types of pendant lights, but I think that it came out so beautiful for the kitchen. Like, these lights were top tier for the style I was going for. Okay, so I went pretty basic, but it came out pretty beautiful for the living room. And I just went with that same worker set and I made that concrete as well, just for a brutalist approach, because brutalist architecture is actually very pretty in my opinion. So I don't know if that's just like a me thing, but I love brutalist architecture. And I went with that circular coffee table for a boho vibe that I wanted to incorporate into this living space, as well as some like palm plants and ottomans for a comfy vibe. And then I went with a big flat screen TV because I really wanted a modern approach to it, like a big entertainment center with everything kind of like low and square, so it went with what I wanted. And instead of a TV stand, I just used a floating shelf, and I think it worked great. Next up is the bedroom. So for the bedroom, I wanted to go with some fancy trim. This was the only room that got like a different style of wall, but it was still the same color, so not much difference. I wanted to go with an accent wall of wood just because it was more of a pop out for the bed to lay on. I thought that would be a nice feature inside the bedroom, and I decided to make this custom floating bed, but it was very low to the ground, almost like a tatami tile bed, but more minimalistic. So I just made it like a floating bed that you would see, kind of like those beds that they put the LEDs under, but we're not doing that here. So I just put a plain mattress on top of that, and that was that. For this part, I was struggling with the structurals. They just would not sit where I wanted them to, but I really wanted this, so I made it work. Eventually we got it, and yeah, I love this little concept here for some extra detail and some asymmetry in a symmetrical room. It's style, and I think it works out great. I also decided to make custom end tables to go along with a low bed, so I also made low end tables, and I think it goes great, especially when I add the pendant lights that are like, they hang really low from the ceiling. I think that was just like, I just think that it looks really nice. You'll see when I add those pendant lights and how low they hang, it just complements it so well. I also wanted this like bench at the end of the bed just to sit on, and I also used a basic shape to add extra cushioning. And I decided not to add like a bunch of fluffy pillows. Instead, I just went with two really nice puffy pillows because I wanted a serene feeling for it. I mean, not that like a bunch of pillows is not calming, because obviously that is, but I just went based off my reference photos, and a lot of the bedrooms I saw didn't have a bunch of things on the bed. It was very, very simple. So that's what I took inspiration from. And also, when I get to the wardrobe section, I was gonna go all crazy with the customs and all that and make like custom wardrobes and have this area for hanging and area for shoes, but I ended up just using like the cabinets or whatever wardrobes and putting, I guess, the pre-made clothing racks in there and kind of making it look like they were hanging from it, because I think they just worked better. And I had limited space, so I couldn't really do much, but I think it still looks pretty good for what I could do, and it's still pretty realistic, you know. So at least the person who lives here has two different wardrobes they could utilize, so it makes up for the lack of storage. I think the bathroom was by far the easiest room, but it came out good. A lot of the bathrooms I saw had like black faucets and fixtures, I guess you would call them, and like modern seats, like toilet seats where they would be mounted to the wall. So that's why I went with that choice. And I wanted to have a soaker tub and shower because I saw both bathtubs and showers in my references. So yeah, I ended up making a custom sink because the references I saw were basically wood drawers but a white countertop, and then I wanted to use that box sink because I just love that box sink. So I had to make something custom, but it wasn't a big deal. I just basically made a square. But for the bathtub, I wanted to kind of make it luxurious looking, so I filled it with water using like a basic shape, kind of that was the transparent shape, and some storage by floating shelves, and also Peep the duck I used. If you know, you know. It's time for tour. On to the outro. Alright, hey everyone, so hopefully you guys made it to the end of this video. I really hope you guys like this style of video that I've done. I kind of mixed it into the tour video I did last week and also a speed build commentary video, my usual content. Really hope you guys enjoy this video. I'll see you guys next week. You guys know I love you all and stay safe. Like, comment, and subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you soon. And trust me, I'm getting back to my coastal town. Don't think I forgot about it. Okay, love you guys. Bye, everyone.